Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Bill Chan.
I'm Nimacum.
I'm Van Chan.
In this class, I'll read all of you a part of Ulysses,
Bess,
L.
Ulysses, James Joyce, Chap, 17 Sec 2. Confidence in himself, an equal and opposite power of abandonment and recuperation. What concomitant phenomenon took place in the vessel of liquid by the agency of fire? The phenomenon of ebullition. Vent by a constant updraft of ventilation between the kitchen and the chimney flue. Ignition was communicated from the faggots of precombustible fuel to polyhedral masses of bituminous coal, containing in compressed mineral form the foliated fossilized residue of primeval forests which had in turn derived their vegetative existence from the sun. Primal source of heat radiant, transmitted through omnipresent luminiferous diatherminous ether. Heat convected, a mode of motion developed by such combustion, was constantly and increasingly conveyed from the source of clarification to the liquid contained in the vessel, being radiated through the uneven unpolished dark surface of the metal iron, in part reflected, in part absorbed, in part transmitted, gradually raising the temperature of the water from normal to boiling point. A rise in temperature expressible as the result of an expenditure of 72 thermal units needed to raise 1 pound of water from to Fahrenheit. What announced the accomplishment of this rise in temperature? A double falciform ejection of water vapor from under the kettle lid of both sides simultaneously. For what personal purpose could Bloom have applied the water so boiled? To shave himself. What advantages attended shaving by night? As if to beard, as if to brush, if intentionally allowed to remain from shave to shave. In its agglutinated lather, as if to skin if unexpectedly encountering female acquaintances in remote places. Adding customary airs, quiet reflections upon the course of the day, a cleaner sensation when awaking after a fresher sleep since matty to no noises. Premonitions and perturbations. A clatter of muxon. A postman's double knock. A paper read. Worried while lathering. We're lathering the same spot. I shocked. I shoot. With thought of what he thought the fraught with not might cause a faster rate. Of shaving and a neck on which incision plaster with precision cut and humected and applied a date which was to be done. Why did absence of light disturb him less than presence of noise? Because of the surety of the sense of touch in his formful masculine feminine. Passive active hand. What quality did it his hand possess, but with what counteracting influence? The operative surgical quality, but that he was reluctant to shed human blood even when the end justified the means, preferring, in their natural order, heliotherapy, sacrifice therapeutics, osteopathic surgery. What lay under exposure on the lower, middle and upper shelves of the kitchen dresser? Open by Bloom. On the lower shelf 5 vertical breakfast plates. 6 horizontal breakfast saucers on which rested inverted breakfast cups. A mouse cup. An inverted and saucer of corn derby. 4 white cauldron cups. An open chamois purse displaying coins, mostly copper, and a file of aromatic violet comfits. On the middle shelf, a chiptic cup containing pepper, a drum of table salt, 4 conglomerated black olives in oleaginous paper, an empty pot of Bunfi's potted meat, an oval wicker basket bedded with fibre and containing 1 juicy pear, a half-empty bottle of William Gilby and Cost white and velvet port, half disrobed of its swat of garl pink tissue paper, a packet of Eps's soluble cocoa, 5 ounces of an inches trace tea per LV and a crinkled lip paper. Out. A cylindrical canister containing the best crystallist lump sugar, 2 onions, 1. The larger, Spanish, enter. The other, smaller, Irish, bisected with augmented surface and more redolent. A jar of Irish model dairy cream. A jug of brown crockery containing an egg in and a quarter of soured adulterated milk, converted by heat into water. Acidulous serum and some acidified curds, which added to the quantity subtracted from Mr. Bloom's and Mrs. Fleming's breakfasts, made 1 imperial pint. The total quantity originally delivered: 2 cloves, a half penny and a small dish containing a slice of fresh roast steak. On the upper shelf, a battery of jam jars empty of various sizes and proveniences. What attracted his attention lying on the apron of the dresser? 4 polygonal fragments of 2 lacerated scarlet bidding tickets, numbered 887, 886. What reminiscences temporarily corrugated his brow? Reminiscences of coincidences, truth stranger than fiction, pre-indicative of the results of the Gold Cup flat handicap, the official and definitive result of which he had read in the Evening Telegraph, late pink edition, in the cabman's shelter, Akbout Bridge. Where had previous intimations of the result, effected or projected, been received by him? In Bernard Carnan's licensed premises 8, 9 and 10 Little Britain Street in David Bynes' licensed premises, 14 Duke Street in O'Connell Street Lower. Outside Graham Lemons when a dark man had placed in his hand a throwaway subsequently. Thrown away. Advertising Elijah. Restorer of the church in Zion in Lincoln Place outside the premises of F. W. Swinney & Co. Limited. Dispensing chemists. 1. When Frederick M. By done. Lyons had rapidly and successively requested, perused and restituted the copy of the current issue of the Freeman's Journal and National. Press which he had been about to throw away subsequently thrown away. He had proceeded towards the oriental edifice of the Turkish and warm baths. 11 Leinster Street, with the light of inspiration shining in his countenance and burning in his arms there. Secret of the race, craven in the language of prediction. What qualifying considerations laid his perturbations? The difficulties of interpretations is the significance of any event follow its occurrences variably. As the acoustic report followed the electrical discharge and of counter-estimating against an actual loss. By failure to interpret the total sum of possible losses proceeding originally from a successful interpretation. His mood. He had not risked. He did not expect. He had not been disappointed. He was satisfied. What satisfied him? To have sustained no positive loss. To have brought a positive gain to others. Light to the Gentiles. How did Bloom prepare a collation for a Gentile? He poured into 2 teacups 2 level spoonfuls. 4 in all. Of Ips's soluble cocoa and proceeded according to the directions for use printed on the label. To each adding after sufficient time for infusion the prescribed ingredients for diffusion in the manner and in the quantity prescribed. What supererogatory marks of special hospitality did the host show his guest? Relinquishing his impostorial right to the moustache cup of imitation crown derby presented to him by his only daughter, Millicent Millie. He substituted a cup identical with that of his guest and served extraordinarily to his guest and, in reduced measure, to himself the viscous cream ordinarily reserved for the breakfast of his wife Miriam Mully. Was the guest conscious of and did he acknowledge these marks of hospitality? His attention was directed to them by his host jocosely, and he accepted them seriously as they drank in jocoserious silence Ips's mess product, the creature cocoa. Were there marks of hospitality which he contemplated but suppressed, reserving them for another and for himself on future occasions to complete the act begun? The reparation of a fish of the length of 1 inch in the race, sight of his guest's jacket, a gift to his guest of one of the 4 ladies' handkerchiefs, if and when ascertained to be in a presentable condition, who drank more quickly. Having the advantage of 10 seconds at the initiation and taking from the concave surface of a spoon along the handle of which a steady flow of heat was conducted. 3 sips to his opponent's 1. 6 to 2. 9 to 3. What cerebration accompanied his frequentative act? Concluding by inspection but erroneously that his silent companion was engaged in mental composition, he reflected on the pleasures derived from literature of instruction rather than of amusement, as he himself had applied to the works of William Shakespeare more than once for the solution of difficult problems in imaginary or real life. Had he found their solution? In spite of careful and repeated reading of certain classical passages, aided by a glossary, he had derived imperfect conviction from the text, the answers not bearing in all points. What lines concluded his first piece of original verse written by him? The Hinchel Poet, at the age of 11 in 1877 on the occasion of the offering of 3 prizes of, and respectively for competition by the Shamrock, a weekly newspaper. Makes me hope that for these you'll find room. The name of yours truly, Glue. Did he find 4 separating forces between his temporary guest and him? Bien. Hecho. Pues. Correct. What anagrams had he made on his name in youth? Old elbow. P. What acrostic upon the abbreviation of his first name had he kinetic placenta? Miss Marion Molly Tweedy on the 14th February 1888. Of music sweet their praise divine. Let them him in 9 times 9. Dearer far than song or wine. You are mine. The world is mine. What had prevented him from completing a topical sung music by R. G. Johnston on the events of the past, or fixtures for the actual years. Entitled If Brian Bohr Could But Come Back and Sealed Dublin Now. Commissioned by Michael Gum. The Essay of the Gaiety Theatre. 46. 47. 48. 49 South King Street. And to be introduced into the sixth scene. The Valley of Diamonds. Of the second edition 30 January 1893 of the Grand Annual Christmas Pantomime Simbalda. Sailor produced by R. Shot in 26 December 1892. Written by Greenleaf Ritter. Scenery by Giorgio Jackson and Cecil Hicks. Costumes by Mrs. and Miss Willan under the personal supervision of Mrs. Michael Gung. Ballets by Jessie Noir. Harlequinade by Thomas Otto and sung by Nelly Bouverist. Principal Gull. Firstly, oscillation between events of imperial and of local interest. The anticipated Diamond Jubilee of Queen Victoria born 1820. Exceeded 1837 and the posticipated opening of the new municipal fish market, secondly. Apprehension of opposition from extreme circles on the questions of the respective visits of their Royal Highnesses the Duke and Duchess of York Royal and of His Majesty King Brian. Boreal Imaginary, thirdly. A conflict between professional etiquette and professional emulation concerning the recent erections of the Grand Weir on Bird Quay and the Theatre Royal in Hawkins Street, fourthly. Distraction resultant from compassion for Nelly Bouverist's non-intellectual, non-political, non-topical expression of countenance and concupiscence caused by Nelly Bouverist's revelations of white articles of non-intellectual, non-political, non-topical underclothing while she Nelly Bouverist was in the articles, fifthly. The difficulties of the selection of appropriate music and humorous allusions from Everybody's Book of Jokes 1000 pages and a laugh in every one, sixthly. The rhymes. Homophonous and Caiphonous, associated with the names of the new Lord Mayor, Daniel Tullen, the new High Sheriff, Thomas Pell and the new Solicitor General, Finbar Plunkett Barton. What relation existed between their ages? 16 years before, in 1888, when Bloom was of Stephen's present age, Stephen was 6. 16 years after, in 1920, when Stephen would be of Bloom's present age, Bloom would be 54. To be continued.